In this video, we're going to talk about a schema that has us feeling like we're never going to get the love that we need from those people that are important to us. As a result, we can react in a number of different ways that are really not effective for us living the life we want to live, being the person that we want to be in those areas of life that are important to us. So today, let's talk about the schema of emotional deprivation. When the schema of emotional deprivation is activated in our personality system, we're left with the undeniable expectation that our desire for emotional connection with other people is not going to be met. This often takes place in one of three perceived ways. First, with the deprivation of nurturance, which basically comes down to feeling a lack of affection or caring from those important people around you. Second, with the deprivation of empathy, which basically revolves around the sense that there's an absence of listening or understanding from caregivers or from the people you want to be close to in your environment. Third, with the deprivation of protection, which is linked to the absence of strength or guidance from others, particularly in our formative years. This schema is usually involved in the creation of many different unmet childhood needs, but it's predominantly revolving around the primary need for attachment to others. Feeling like you're not heard or understood in the childhood environment will generally lead to a subconscious belief that you're not going to get the love that you need from those that you want it from the most. This can lead to a number of different coping mechanisms getting activated in your personality system, basically just trying to make people love you or generally lashing out at those people that you feel do not. When I stepped into my own recovery lifestyle, the schema of emotional deprivation contained a perspective that I could really relate to. When I think about my anxious, fearful attachment style, it can be pretty much summed up by the schema of emotional deprivation. I wanted more than anyone could give me in all of my relationships, but this was mainly because I was trying to fill an internal void that was completely unfillable, particularly when I was trying to fill it with external things. This void was often insatiable and never-ending, and it was right at the forefront of my thinking for the majority of time. No matter how much people gave me in relationships, it never ever felt like it was enough, and my expectations and what others should do for me was so high it was impossible for people to achieve. When this story was active in my system, I was extremely needy, asking for things that were not possible for people to do. I had consistent thoughts about not getting the love I needed, even though there was plenty of evidence that all of the people around me cared about me and loved me. My filters just didn't let me see it. One of the more dominant coping mechanisms that I had for this particular schema played out in my adult life as a constant desire to meet the needs of others, which, in case you hadn't noticed, even played a role in my choice of employment. Meeting the needs of others was a way for me to compensate for my own feelings that were caused by my unmet childhood needs. I also found it really hard to say no to my friends, constantly putting their needs before my own. The problem with this way of living is that I found myself chronically disappointed in other people, often holding resentment for their inability to give me what I wanted. I often seemed to feel like people always let me down, not in individual situations or circumstances per se, but in a general sense of disappointment surrounding every single thing that I did and every single relationship that I was invested in. Most of the time, this sense of disappointment was attached to a story that had absolutely no basis in actuality. In other words, it was not connected to something that was really happening in the world around me. It was caused by the psychological filter of confirmation bias that was present in my system, only allowing me to see the evidence that lined up with this particular schema. Learning how to spot these filters and deactivate their influence on my emotional and behavioral reactions was absolutely key to developing new ways of coping and ultimately supporting me in living the life I want to live. In the PDF at the bottom of the website page that's connected to this video, you're going to find a worksheet that's intended to support you in deciding whether the schema of emotional deprivation is something that might actually be active in your own personality system. Take some time to download it and work through the questions to build awareness for the stories that you might have that are connected to this particular schema. If you've got an opinion on this or anything else to do with the integration of DBT and schema therapy, leave a comment in the chat. I'd love to hear your point of view. If you want to know more, come join the live online meetings that I facilitate each week for free on Zoom Zoom, I'll leave some links in the description below. As always, if you like the content of this video, please subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. Turn on those notifications to get all the latest from me and the Liberation Place. I really hope this video gave you some insight for how the schema of emotional deprivation might be something that's influencing the way that you see the world. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Take care, be safe, and be well.